I hadn't heard from my wife for 48 hours. She said she was in meetings, would call later. In reality, she was getting married in Vegas. While I was at home worrying about her, she was taking someone else's last name. My name is David Richardson. I'm 47 years old and I work as a senior software developer at a tech company in Chicago. I've been married to Michelle for 12 years and she worked as a digital marketing director. At least that's what I thought. That Wednesday morning, everything seemed normal, but actually the biggest deception of my life was about to begin. While Michelle was packing her bag, she told me she was going to a digital marketing conference in Boston. It would last 3 days. She'd return Thursday evening. These kinds of conferences were important for her work, and the company covered all expenses. I drove her to the airport. We said our normal goodbyes. I wished her safe flights. I had no suspicion whatsoever. The first day went ordinarily. Michelle called in the evening, told me how the conference was going. She said she was tired and would go to bed early. Her voice tone was normal. I could hear hotel room sounds in the background. The second day passed similarly. We had a brief conversation. She said she was busy. The third day was different. When I called Michelle at noon, her phone was off. I texted, no response came. I tried again in the afternoon, still off. By 7 p.m., there was still no news. I started to worry because Michelle would never stay silent this long. I decided to call the conference hotel in Boston. I called the Marriott downtown because her company always made reservations there. The receptionist said there was no guest named Michelle Richardson. Maybe she was at another hotel, I thought. I called the Hyatt. She wasn't there either. Sheraton, Hilton. I called all the major hotels. None of them had a Michelle Richardson reservation. I found this situation strange, but maybe the company made the reservation under a different name, I thought. I called Michelle's company, but since it was Friday, the office was closed. I would call in the morning. I couldn't sleep that night. I still hadn't heard from Michelle. Her phone kept going straight to voicemail. When I woke up in the morning, my first task was to call Michelle's company. I spoke with the HR manager, Jennifer. Jennifer was very surprised. Michelle hadn't taken time off for a conference this week. In fact, she had worked normally Monday and Tuesday, then took sick leave on Wednesday. This information confused me. Michelle had told me she was going to a conference in Boston, but she hadn't even taken time off from the company. Where had she gone then? I decided to check Michelle's credit card activity. I logged into the online banking system. I looked at the last 3 days' activity on our joint credit card. I saw a taxi charge from Las Vegas McCarran Airport on Thursday, not Boston, Las Vegas. Michelle had lied to me. I looked at other expenses: accommodation at MGM Grand Hotel, payment at Chapel of the Bells, limousine rental, shopping at a florist. These looked like wedding expenses. My heart started beating fast. Was Michelle having a wedding in Vegas? When I looked at the details of the florist expense, it said, bridal bouquet special package. Bridal bouquet special package. I no longer had any doubt. Michelle was getting married in Vegas. But to whom? I couldn't remember her mentioning another man during our 12-year marriage. How could this be possible? I decided to check Michelle's social media accounts. She didn't use Instagram much, but maybe there was a clue, I thought. When I opened her account, I was shocked. Among her latest posts were photos from Vegas, herself and a handsome man I'd never seen together. I examined the photos in more detail. The first photo was from Thursday evening, Michelle and this man in the lobby of MGM Grand. The second photo was from Friday morning. Both were very elegantly dressed, looking happy. The third photo was heart-stopping. Michelle in a wedding dress, the man in a tuxedo, kissing in front of a chapel. I read the comments under the photo. Michelle's friends had written congratulations. Finally found her true love. Marcus is so lucky. You're a perfect couple. Marcus. So this man's name was Marcus. I went to Marcus's profile. Marcus Wheeler lives in Las Vegas, casino manager. His profile photos were taken with Michelle. Some were even months old. So this relationship wasn't new. I decided to examine Michelle's phone bills. I checked the last 6 months of calls. A Las Vegas area code number was constantly calling and being called by Michelle. This number probably belonged to Marcus. The calls were daily, sometimes lasting hours. I dug deeper. I tried to access Michelle's email account. I knew her password because she always used the same password. When I entered her Gmail account, there were thousands of emails from Marcus. The first email dated back 8 months. I started reading the emails. The first emails seemed like introduction emails. Marcus wrote to Michelle that they had met at a marketing conference in Las Vegas last year, and he wanted to see her again. The following emails were more intimate, daily conversations, longing messages. From February onwards, the emails had become more serious. Marcus was writing to Michelle that she needed to divorce, that they needed to be together. Michelle seemed indecisive at first, but it was clear she was getting closer to Marcus over time. In March, Michelle had written to Marcus that she had decided to divorce me, but she didn't know how to do it. Marcus suggested they get married in Vegas, then handle the divorce proceedings. From April onwards, they were making wedding plans. Which chapel, which hotel, which date. Everything was planned in detail. Michelle would go to Vegas by lying to me, marry Marcus, then return home and tell me everything. The last email was from Wednesday morning. Marcus wrote to Michelle how excited he was when they met at the airport, that they would finally be together. Michelle also wrote to Marcus that she was ready to end her marriage with me, that she wanted to start their new lives. All these emails were an 8-month cheating story. Michelle had been deceiving me for 8 months. Every night when she came home and had dinner with me, watched TV, shared a bed, she was texting with Marcus. What kind of betrayal was this? I realized my phone was ringing. Michelle's number. She was calling for the first time in 3 days. I answered but didn't speak. I heard Michelle's voice. David. David, are you there? This is very difficult, but I need to tell you something. I also answered, are you calling from Vegas with Marcus? Silence. Then a deep breath sound. Michelle asked how I knew. I told her I had found the credit card activity, Instagram photos, her emails. Michelle started crying. She told me this wasn't something planned, that she was in love with Marcus, that she wanted to be happy. She confessed she had been cheating on me for 8 months. I asked her only one question. When are you coming back? She said she would return Monday, that she would think about how to explain by then. It's too late now, I said and hung up. That weekend was hell. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Was this how my 12-year marriage would end? While Michelle was marrying someone else in Vegas, I was at home wondering what happened to her. Monday morning, Michelle returned home. Marcus had come with her too. He was a tall, handsome, confident-looking man. When Michelle looked at him, there was a light in her eyes that she had never looked at me with. Marcus approached me and extended his hand. He introduced himself, said the situation was difficult for him too. He added that he loved Michelle and wanted to be happy with her. I didn't shake his hand. I just looked at Michelle. Wasn't 12 years with me enough? I asked. Michelle started crying. She said she didn't want to hurt me, but she felt different with Marcus. She felt like someone younger, more excited, more alive. Marcus intervened and said Michelle's happiness was important, that they didn't want to hurt anyone. He added that the divorce proceedings needed to be handled quickly. I told them I would hire a lawyer. Michelle was surprised. Why a lawyer? Couldn't we handle it together, she asked. Because you cheated on me for 8 months, committed bigamy in Vegas, and now you're trying to lecture me here, I said. The word bigamy scared Michelle. Is this a crime, she asked. Marcus also became curious. He asked what the legal situation was. I suggest you research it, I said. Now please leave my house. Michelle wanted to collect her belongings, but I didn't allow it. You can come and get them tomorrow, without Marcus. The next day, Michelle came alone. She looked very different, tired, worried. She had researched bigamy, learned it was a serious crime. She apologized to me. She said she hadn't planned to go this far. She just wanted to be happy with Marcus. She added that the Vegas marriage wasn't valid. It was just symbolic. But you thought it was real, I said. In your emails, you wrote that you would be with Marcus forever. Michelle nodded. David, I don't love you anymore. I haven't loved you for a very long time. But I didn't know how to tell you. You didn't love me for 12 years, and I didn't notice. For the last 3 to 4 years. After I met Marcus, I realized what kind of life I actually wanted. Michelle collected her belongings, large suitcases full of clothes, books, personal items. The traces of our 12-year partnership were slowly being removed from the house. As she was leaving, she looked at me one last time. David, you're a good man. You'll find someone else, someone who deserves you. These words hurt me even more. This is how we were saying goodbye after 12 years. After Michelle left, I hired a lawyer and filed for divorce. My lawyer demanded compensation due to Michelle's cheating, committing bigamy, and damaging our financial situation. Michelle also hired a lawyer. Marcus was supporting her financially. The court litigation process began. At the first hearing, I saw Michelle with Marcus. They were sitting hand in hand as if they were a real couple. The judge questioned Michelle's Vegas marriage. Michelle said it was symbolic, had no legal validity. But after the judge read the correspondence in the emails, he decided that Michelle really intended to marry. This was considered attempted bigamy. The court process lasted 10 months. During this time, Michelle and Marcus's relationship deteriorated. Vegas romanticism wasn't enough in real life. Marcus couldn't convince Michelle to move to Chicago, and Michelle didn't want to settle in Vegas either. Before the last hearing, Michelle called me. She said she wanted to meet. We met at a neutral place, a cafe. Michelle had changed a lot. She seemed to have lost weight, aged. She said they had separated from Marcus. Long-distance relationship wasn't working. It wasn't as she expected. She apologized to me again. She hadn't thought this matter would grow this big. She just wanted to be happy. Were you happy? I asked. For a short time, she said. Those moments in Vegas were real happiness, but regret came afterwards. The divorce decision was finalized. Michelle would pay alimony because cheating was proven. The house became mine because I had made most of the mortgage payments. I also received financial compensation due to the cheating. 3 years have passed since that incident now. I've built a new life in Chicago. I live in a smaller but more comfortable house. I've made new friendships, acquired hobbies. I don't hear from Michelle at all. I heard she moved to Las Vegas, found a new job there. It said that she and Marcus met again, but they're not married anymore. Sometimes I think about that Vegas night. Michelle in her flowery wedding dress, Marcus in his tuxedo, in front of the small chapel. Maybe they were really happy at that moment, but that happiness was built on the ruins of my 12-year marriage. Now I'm more careful about trusting people. Michelle had been able to lie perfectly for 8 months. Every night she would come home, have dinner with me, watch TV, lie side by side in bed, but her mind was always on Marcus. I don't trust anyone anymore without checking who they are, where they're going, how long they'll be gone. Michelle's Vegas story taught me how fragile trust is, but the story doesn't end here. The process after the divorce was also very complicated. After Michelle moved to Vegas, they hired someone new to replace her at her company in Chicago. Michelle's former coworkers became hesitant to talk to me. They acted as if Michelle's cheating was my fault. Especially Michelle's closest friend, Jennifer, blamed me. She called me saying Michelle was unhappy, that I had neglected her. She claimed to have listened to Michelle's complaints for 12 years, that I was unaware. I told Jennifer about the emails Michelle hid from me, the phone conversations, the fake business trips. Jennifer was surprised. Michelle hadn't told her any of it. She had only said she was unhappy, that I didn't understand her. Michelle's family also blamed me. My mother-in-law, Margaret, called me asking how I could so easily agree to Michelle's divorce decision. When I told her Michelle had married in Las Vegas and cheated on me for 8 months, she couldn't believe it. Margaret couldn't think Michelle would do such a thing. She said her daughter was a very good person. There must have been a reason. Maybe you neglected her. Maybe there were other problems, she said. These accusations hurt me a lot. I had done my best for Michelle for 12 years. I had tried to be a good husband, tried to give her a good life, but everyone was blaming me. Michelle's brother Tom went even further. He called me saying he was angry that I cornered Michelle in court. He claimed I damaged his family's reputation, that I financially punished Michelle. I showed Tom the emails Michelle had hidden from me before marrying in Vegas. The love letters Michelle wrote to Marcus, their escape plans together, conversations about how to get rid of me. Tom fell silent after reading. Michelle's old circle of friends was also divided. Some supported Michelle, some me. Meeting with mutual friends became awkward. Everyone had to take sides. Especially meeting with friends we went with as couples became difficult. Sarah and Mike, Jennifer and Robert, Lisa and Steve. They all remembered the times Michelle and I were together. Now they didn't know what to do. Sarah openly told me that Michelle had changed a lot in the last 2 years. She had started wearing more makeup, paying more attention to her clothes, constantly busy with her phone. But she added that they didn't know the reason for these changes. Mike confessed that he had seen Marcus in Vegas. He was in Vegas on a business trip last year and had seen Michelle with Marcus at a restaurant, but he hadn't dared to tell me. When I asked why he didn't tell me, Mike said he couldn't be sure. Maybe they were work colleagues. Maybe it was an innocent meeting. He didn't want to interfere between husband and wife. This information was very painful. My friends knew Michelle was cheating, but they hadn't told me. Maybe everyone knew. Only I didn't know. During the divorce case, Michelle's lawyer, David Hartman, was very aggressive. He claimed I was trying to control Michelle financially, that I restricted her freedom. He said Michelle's relationship with Marcus was an emotional escape. In court, Hartman claimed Michelle had been depressed in recent years, that our marriage made her unhappy. He revealed that Michelle had been seeing a psychologist using antidepressants. I had never known any of this. Was Michelle really going to a psychologist? For how long? Why hadn't she told me? These questions bothered me. My lawyer, Jennifer Morrison, tried to refute these claims. We researched the reasons for Michelle's psychology visits. We requested a meeting with Dr. Patricia Wilson. Dr. Wilson said she couldn't give details due to patient confidentiality, but she stated that the reason Michelle started treatment was not marital problems, but work stress. She had also continued treatment after her relationship with Marcus began. This information refuted Michelle's lawyer's claims. I hadn't caused Michelle's depression, work stress had. In fact, she had needed treatment even after her relationship with Marcus started. During the court process, Michelle's cell phone records were also examined. Her conversations with Marcus, messages, emails. The 8-month cheating process was revealed day by day. Michelle had initially been distant towards Marcus, seeing him only as a friend. But Marcus had been insistent, constantly confessing his love to Michelle. Over time, Michelle had also fallen in love with Marcus. In January, Michelle had confessed her love to Marcus for the first time. In February, Marcus had visited Vegas. In March, they had decided to divorce. In April, they had made wedding plans. This was a cheating story that deepened every month. While Michelle came home to me every night, she was actually planning how to escape with Marcus. Michelle's text messages were read in court. The messages she wrote to Marcus were very painful. "I'm tired of David now. I'm impatient to be with you. I wish we had met earlier." The most painful message was from March. "Don't worry if David suspects. He's very naive. He doesn't notice anything." Michelle saw me as naive. The woman I had lived with for 12 years thought I was stupid. Marcus's messages were no less painful. "Michelle, I'll rescue you from there. You should leave someone boring like David. You'll live a real life with me." Marcus didn't even know me but found me boring. What had Michelle told him about me, I wonder? The court decision came out in my favor. Michelle would pay compensation. The house would be mine. She wouldn't receive alimony. Also, her Vegas marriage with Marcus was deemed invalid. The bigamy charge was also dropped. When Michelle heard the decision, she started crying. She said it was too harsh a penalty, that she couldn't start over. Marcus was no longer by her side. She would be alone. As we left the courthouse, Michelle approached me one last time. "David, I know I treated you very badly, but I was so unhappy. Marcus promised me a different life." I asked which part made her unhappy. I never heard a complaint from her in 12 years, because I thought complaining wouldn't help. "You don't change. You're always the same." Marcus meant change. I asked sarcastically how the change in Vegas went. Michelle hung her head. "I know, I was fantasizing. Marcus was different in real life. When Vegas's magic wore off, I saw his true face." "What exactly happened?" "Marcus forced me to move to Chicago. When he realized I didn't like Vegas, he got angry at me. Also, he was very selfish, always thinking about himself. I started looking at the years I spent with you differently." "Too late," I said. "There's no turning back now." Michelle walked away in tears. This was the last time I saw her. 2 years later, I learned about Michelle's situation from Sarah, a mutual friend. She had moved to Las Vegas, was working at a small marketing company. She had completely cut ties with Marcus, was living alone. Sarah said Michelle was very regretful, often asked about me. Sometimes she wanted to call and apologize to me, but couldn't find the courage. Sarah gave me Michelle's number, said I could call if I wanted, but I didn't call. That story was closed for me. 6 months later, Michelle actually called me. There was a very tired, aged tone in her voice. "David, I know I have no right to call, but I want to apologize." I listened. Michelle told me she was having very difficult days in Las Vegas, that she had learned Marcus was cheating on her. She had spent all her money on her relationship with Marcus. Now she was in a difficult situation. "When did you find out about Marcus?" I asked. 3 months ago. He was living with another woman. He had cheated on me too, just like he cheated on you. He had even hidden the Vegas wedding from that woman." This was ironic. Marcus was cheating on Michelle just as he had cheated on someone else. Michelle was experiencing something similar to what happened to me. Michelle said she wanted to be forgiven by me. She had made a very big mistake, realized she had thrown 12 years in the trash. "I forgive you, Michelle," I said, "but this doesn't change anything. You made your own choice. Can you give me another chance?" "No, Michelle. It's too late now. You deceived me for 8 months, got married in Vegas. came home and acted like nothing happened. This trust can't be rebuilt. Michelle hung up crying. She never called again. 5 years have passed since that incident now. I built a new life in Chicago. New friends, new hobbies, new perspective. I even met a woman named Jennifer 2 years ago. She's also divorced. She understands me. When I told Jennifer about Michelle's story, she was shocked, asked how I experienced such betrayal. Jennifer is a much more understanding, honest woman. She tells me everything she shares with sincerity. I occasionally hear about Michelle through mutual friends. She's still living in Las Vegas, but now she's married to someone else she met in Vegas. This time it's a normal marriage, no bigamy. Sometimes I think about Michelle's Vegas night, at Chapel of the Bells in her wedding dress, next to Marcus. Was she really happy at that moment? Or was it just excitement she was experiencing? Maybe Michelle will never find the happiness she's looking for, because she always looks for happiness elsewhere. 12 years with me, a few months with Marcus, now a few years with her new husband. But the problem is always the same. Michelle doesn't know herself. This is how the story of my wife who got married to someone else while I couldn't hear from her for 48 hours ends. This experience taught me how fragile trust is, how complex relationships are. But it also showed me that life goes on, that new beginnings are possible,